Despite already two different versions of Quicksilver leaving their mark on the MCU, Marvel Studios has yet to introduce us to another variant of the character, something that might or might not happen. However, that did not stop me from looking around to give you a first look into a character that might be returning to the MCU, something made possible solely because of the multiverse being wide open as I speak within the MCU, and something that will play a huge part in the events to come as well. Get this, one of the fan favorite mutants could be returning to the MCU. Of course, I am talking about Quicksilver, whose name in the MCU was less than short-lived, for a reason of course, but that doesn't mean that he does not deserve a second chance. Not Pietro Maximoff from Earth-616, but maybe another variant of the character coming straight from the multiverse, either played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, like up until now, or Fox's Evan Peters, whom I will get to in just a bit. And this is very much possible, seeing where things are headed with the MCU and what the fans want. Two things that will probably play a huge part in his return. And before you go spiraling out of control as to how that could happen, how is it even possible? Hear me out. Before I move forward with the possibility and the way he can return, I want to take a little journey through the character's history in the MCU, no matter how short, but not sweet it is. Quicksilver, or Pietro Maximoff, is a native Sokovian who grew up with his twin sister Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch. The siblings lost their parents to a bombing caused by the United States Air Force using weapons from Stark Industries, after which the two developed hatred towards Tony Stark. Embroiled in a constant war and strife, Sokovia became a battlefield where a certain someone, Baron Strucker from Hydra, decided to establish his own base of operations, and who was the one to recruit both Pietro and Wanda as volunteers for an experiment regarding Loki's scepter, a weapon that was retrieved by Hydra after the events of the first Avengers movie, when Loki invaded Earth, but lost. In the scepter, there is the Mind Stone, one of the 5 Infinity Stones, which is the source of the powers of the two siblings after they got exposed to it, with Pietro acquiring the ability to move at superhuman speed, and was dubbed the name Quicksilver. Following the Avengers' attack on the Hydra base, where both he and his sister were kept, it was finally time for their powers to shine through. Thus, he joined the fight, and after Ultron made it through, Pietro joined him together with Wanda to exact revenge upon Tony Stark, as he is the reason why his family was killed. Eventually, they switched sides and helped the Avengers to stop an even bigger body count, and they learned Ultron's true intentions. It was during the Battle of Sokovia when Quicksilver met his end after sacrificing himself to save Hawkeye and a little boy. His sacrifice, however, was not in vain, and the Avengers managed to hit that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in reality, they managed to destroy Ultron and stop him from completing his cataclysmic extension level plan. After Quicksilver's death, the MCU already brought back a Quicksilver, Fox's version, with Evan Peters in the role, which was actually a red herring, as we learn near the end of the WandaVision series. However, that doesn't mean that he might not be back in the MCU soon. Rumors have said that we would see Evan Peters in WandaVision, and we did, and that he would play Wanda's brother. And again, they were right. Something that did not happen though was the rumor that the series would be a bigger multiverse story, where uncontrollable magic would bring X-Men from the Fox universe to the MCU. And when everything is taken into consideration, it was clear that Evan Peters' MCU debut was nothing but a ruse. And not only were there no links to the multiverse, Evan Peters played Ralph Bonner from Westview, an actor way before Wanda took over the city, with Agatha actually being the one pulling the strings. The whole point of the series having him there was to let us know that Evan Peters does not play Quicksilver in the MCU, but rather Ralph Bonner, and that his target is Wanda, something he is not aware of until much later in the series, with him being there to make Wanda doubt herself and her powers. Everything in order for Agatha to make it easier for herself to defeat her. Yes, Bonner says he is Pietro, but he doesn't look or feel like Wanda's brother, impacting Wanda's ability to tell right from wrong even further. All in all, now that I had the time to see things clearly, it is more than certain that Marvel used Bonner to confuse the audience. Let us think that Wanda snatched him from a different universe, thanks to his growing power. So, with that actually being said, Marvel could potentially look to give an explanation that Bonner is actually a Quicksilver variant from the multiverse, a concept that seems to be the name of the game in the MCU right now, almost 2 years after the WandaVision series released. Even if the whole WandaVision conundrum does not come to fruition, and us seeing Evan Peters in the role of Quicksilver, there is one other field of the MCU where I would like to take you to: Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Where else? The movie skipped the return of Pietro Maximoff. However, the MCU cannot ignore the speedster's increasingly awkward absence forever, as he is probably one of the major heroes that the MCU completely discarded after his death. And while Quicksilver's arrival could be justified with the likes of the multiverse, the MCU will still need to explain a thing or two about the character, especially since he was a mutant pioneer alongside Wanda, something that cannot be overlooked by the MCU, as well as the fans' expectations from the character. Or should I say, a variant of the character, coming straight from the other side of the multiverse, together with the confirmed arrival of the mutants within the MCU. All in all, there are 2 different iterations of Quicksilver in live action that could potentially return. And although Aaron Taylor Johnson's version of the character has been confirmed of being dead, and Evan Peters' version is actually an imposter, Marvel Studios has the tools to smash the subscribe button and ring that notification bell. But no, in all seriousness, the company has the tools to bring either of them, which could all be possible thanks to the multiverse, and the knowledge of us knowing that there are almost infinite variants of a certain character. Quicksilver's return to the MCU would also let us see the potential he has, something the character was not able to express in the brief history of the MCU. For instance, many Marvel comic book fans already know what I'm talking about and just how powerful Quicksilver is, with the live-action version of the character only showing a slide of his arsenal, with the character owed to at least letting fans of the MCU know his hidden power. In the comics, the Avengers are facing off against the villainous copycat of Captain America, the Red Guardian, and it is here where he displays a power that leaves the entire Avengers roster speechless. By vibrating his legs at top speed, Quicksilver discovers that he can actually fly. And not only that, but that he can fly faster than he could ever run. And while this ability of Quicksilver is nothing special when compared to other Avengers members, it is something that the MCU would be able to display and something that is owed to the character. That is, of course, if Marvel even brings back the character to the MCU. Whatever the case may be with Quicksilver's character, and whichever version the MCU gets, if he is to return, one thing is for sure, the MCU fans would be a whole lot happier to see him in action yet again. And not only that, but also witness everything that he is capable of, with the live-action version of the character matching his comic book counterpart, a marvel on its own. See you in the next video.